Good evening, welcome to another video here at the Black Jersey. It's me, Max, hosting the channel, and we have just reached 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys. I am now able to become a multi-millionaire thanks to you subscribing, and as you can see, I have got very rich. I have made 51 cents. I'm rich now! Anyway, guys, thank you so much for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers, and it's been an absolute pleasure hosting this channel. And now on with this video, I want to explain the best things about the mid-year tests for the All Blacks against Tonga and Fiji to you guys, and I want to explain kind of how these mid-year tests are going to help us going forward, and the kind of discoveries and revelations that I gained out of watching those tests. So the first conclusion that I made was that the Pacific Island teams are really not up to the All Blacks standard, and I think we all knew that. It's just that we didn't know how badly hit they'd been by the pandemic, and I think that playing these Pacific Islands on a regular basis would be really good for us. Make it a quad-annual thing, so whenever we're not facing the Lions, or whenever we need to warm up for the British and Irish Lions, we can play the other Pacific teams. We could even maybe play the Māori All Blacks or something like that, but point is, I really enjoy watching us playing Samoa, Fiji and Tonga, because it really battle hardens these Pacific Island nations. And the thing is, when you're getting exposed to better opposition, you're kind of forced to improve yourself. And that's the beauty of sport, when you're exposed to that kind of stuff. And, you know, there's all these players who are denying Tutai Kefu the chance to cap them for Tonga, as a lot of people have previously explained. And so if there's a trophy on the line, if it's an actual genuine competition, you're going to find a lot more guys leaving their clubs over in France and England to come represent their nation. And, wow, that would just be amazing. And having all these first choice players actually there, that would be a beauty. Fiji did really well against us in the first 60 minutes of the two tests that we played against them in. I think Fiji really do need to work on their fitness, and once they've done a bit of work on that, gone away, built the teamwork a wee bit more, I think there would be great competition for us, because they were really pushing us in those first 60 minutes of both those tests, and they did a similar thing to Australia at the 2019 World Cup, so that's awesome. I want them to beat the Wallabies in 2023, so can we please play Fiji more and make them a tier 1 nation so we can actually make this thing happen. So those were kind of the main things I gained out of watching the opposition, and the main things I gained out of watching us were really around the midfield and the loose forwards. So Luke Jacobson's had quite a few injury setbacks, as I've previously explained in videos, and I think Luke Jacobson was actually really amazing and had some career best performances starting for the All Blacks, particularly against Tonga. He was really running the ball and doing the kind of things you would never really expect for the guy, because he's always just known as one of those ball carrying forwards who just hits hard, all that kind of cliche stuff, but he was actually playing like he was a world-class player. So I think giving Jacobson more time in the black jersey is really going to improve him, and you saw it again against the Fijians in the third test of the mid-year series. Ardie Savea was back for his 50th, Akira Ioane was once again starting, then you had Jacobson in there at number 8. I think this is possibly the loose forward trio going forward, because Jacobson can jump on the line out as the third option. Akira Ioane is a real strong ball carrier, whereas Ardie Savea is the best player on the planet. Yes, I said it again, and I'll never stop saying it until he starts playing worse. So it makes a lot of sense to have these guys, because Ioane's got the power, Savia's got the jackling ability, whereas Jacobson is almost a hybrid between the two of those two, except he's far stronger on defense. So I think it's a really good mix, and obviously having a specialist open side off the bench would be my preferred option, because you need a specialist jackler on the field at all times. So tactically going forward, I think Sam Whitelock is the best person to remain the captain, as Sam Cane fitting in tactically doesn't make sense. Ollie Norris, when I had him on the channel for an interview about how the Chiefs improved so much this season, said Sam Cane's such a hard worker, but in regard to your tactics for this team, it just doesn't make sense working forward, because you just need that third line-out jumper, and if you don't have one, you're gonna get screwed. I want to, before I move on to talking about the centres, celebrate the debuts of Quinn Tupaia, Ethan de Groot, Samisoni Taukei'aho, Finlay Christie, Ethan Blackadder, and George Boa. Boa is 29 years old, so that's just... I'm at a loss for words, genuinely, because imagine the hard work that went into that. Just grinding up for all those years at club level, at an amateur level with Otago, to finally getting a Super Rugby debut at 27, lifting the trophy as a fan 4 years before actually lifting it yourself. Good on him is all I've got to say. And I can say the rest about the rest of them, because becoming an All Black is hard. We're yet to crack 1,200 All Blacks in our country's history. So especially well done to all of these players. Quinn Tupaia really proved me wrong as well. He was looking very unsteady, very raw in regard to his decision making last year, and he's done the work after going away and getting injured and fighting against those setbacks. I think Ethan de Groot played really well in his debut too. It was a nice homecoming for the homeboy there in Dunedin, and I believe he's Gauls' first All Black in 10 years. Ethan Blackadder, I think, was an interesting selection, especially when you're looking at Blackadder as a 7. I think Fozzie may be looking at Blackadder for an impact player going forward, because Blackadder is a hybrid of all three. He jumps in the line out like Jacobson, he's aggressive like Ioane, and he turns over like Savia. He's not a specialist open side. Do not start him at 7 again. But if you're after a bomb squad like South Africa have done for the last few years, I do think it would be a good idea to have Blackadder in jersey 21 with a specialist open side at 20 if you really want to go for that effect. Samisoni Taukei'aho as well. Wow, what a debut. Incredible performance. So close to being man of the match. Just unlucky Sevu Reece got a hat-trick. I have touched on Finlay Christie's debut beforehand too. Scotland will be shaking in their boots for next time we play against them, because he's going to show his home country why he never went back, and he's going to say, hey, I love my adopted country and I love playing for them. It's a very exciting prospect for me, and I do think that if TJ Perenara and Brad Weber are to retire, or if Aaron Smith even is to retire, he may possibly end up being the third choice at the World Cup. For now, I'm thinking Aaron Smith will stay the big dog until Folau Fakatava's finally back from injury. I do think Fakatava will start for the World Cup tests. I think Aaron Smith, being the old guy off the bench, is a perfect way to close the game out, because you need experience off that bench for the last 20 minutes, and having Finlay Christian as the third choice is quite good, because he's an abrasive guy that's going to make a few highlight reels for the pool games at 2023. And my final takeaway from having these mid-year tests against Tonga and Fiji is our midfield. For a very long time, it's been a problem. Ever since Smith and Nonu left at the end of 2015 to go overseas and play in France and retire from the black jersey, Sonny Bill Williams is always a shoo-in for the 12 jersey, but it was always an issue deciding who was actually going to partner Williams at 13. They tried Ryan Crotty, but he was well past his best. For whatever reason, Shag didn't seem to like Anton Lienert-Brown or Jack Goodhue, because they weren't really ridiculously experienced in terms of starting tests prior to that World Cup, but finally he did start starting the two of them as a combo for that World Cup as they were in the best form. But the thing is, tactically going forward, I don't think it makes sense because they play pretty much the same way, and you've got to have kind of a yin and a yang midfield pairing. So David Havili at 12, I think, is a great man. I'd actually pretty much given up on David Havili ever getting a recall again, and so I was so satisfied to see him become a first choice player for the first time. Havili has now played the second most minutes at 12 of any player since 2020 started. Anton Lienert-Brown is the more aggressive defender, whereas Havili's a bit more of a playmaker. He knows how to kick. And so I think they're a great combination to be going forward. In terms of tactics, Jack Goodhue, his career could be over, which would be really sad. He's only played less than 20 tests, so for a 26-year-old, that's a bit of a concern. Rieko Ioane, I think, has continued to improve, and I think Rieko really looked good off that bench against Fiji in particular, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Rieko Ioane become an impact player on a regular basis. I think having a super sub like that completes any team, just as South Africa did with Francois Stein in 2019, just as we ourselves did with Bodie and Sonny Bill back in 2015. I think Rieko is just a great answer for that, and having a guy that can cover centre and wing off that bench is especially important. And hey, if Beauden Barrett's starting at 10, Havili can kick the goals, so bring that on, man. Anyway, guys, I think that'll wrap it all up. This will be the end of the video, so make sure to go over to Instagram, give us a follow, please. Go down to the Patreon, have a look at that too. Like this video, subscribe to our channel because we're now past 1K. Check out the link tree for anything else like our Discord server, any promotions that are going on with any kind of business. And thank you again so much for watching. I will talk to you later. See you guys.